Welcome to the Meredith Taylor Show. Meredith is a former Division I SEC college golfer and is now the owner of McKellar Enterprises. Join the conversations with Meredith and other notable guests covering sports, leadership, personal growth, and so much more. Now, your host, Meredith Taylor.
The number one question that I get asked on almost a daily basis is some version of what's the best golf course you've ever played, or what's your favorite golf course and why? And in order to answer that question, I have to give you some background information to fully grasp the circumstances that lead to my answer. So I'm going to call today's episode my Augusta National story. I think this story is so unique. I just had to make it an episode in and of itself. So for those who are just starting to listen to the podcast, this is really going to help you understand my golf origin story. So before we get started, here's a quick word from our incredible sponsors. I hope you enjoy the show. If you're looking for an experienced allergist in South Carolina, look no further. Find lasting relief and breathe easier with expert treatment from Dr. Lisa Hutto, a board-certified allergist, an experienced physician, and a dedicated advocate for patient health. My family members have benefited greatly from her care. Don't hesitate to go to lisahuttomd.com and schedule your appointment today. I highly recommend her, and I encourage everyone to go ahead and book your appointment today at lisahuttomd.com. I want to tell you about my friends at Rolling Suds Power Washing. From siding and roofs to driveways and walkways, Rolling Suds has been revitalizing residential and commercial properties for over 30 years. The largest power washing company in the world is ready to serve you. So if you're in Columbia, South Carolina, or in my hometown of Lexington, South Carolina, call my good friend Kyle Edens at 803-886-9828 or visit rollingsudspowerwashing.com.
Do you want lower golf scores? There are several ways you can work with former Gamecock Meredith Taylor. If you're in the state of South Carolina, one-on-one coaching is available. Across the U.S., virtual lessons are available. You just send your golf swing in for personalized coaching. This is the most popular option. And if you're a beginner and you need to learn the fundamentals, McKellar Online Academy, the online courses to learn the basics at your own pace. Go to McKellarEnterprises.org. McKellar, McKellar Enterprises.org to book your session today and lower those golf scores.
My grandfather purchased patron badges to a golf tournament called the Masters back in the late 50s, early 60s. So for those of you who are new to golf, today this is one of the biggest events in all of sports, not just golf. But back then it was just, hey, if you love golf, you can get tickets to the Masters. And today it's up there with the Super Bowl in terms of popularity and in terms of demand for tickets and what we call badges. The tournament is held at what some would call the most popular or most recognizable golf course in the world, Augusta National Golf Club. So my first Masters experience attending the tournament was when I was 13 years old, and it was breathtaking. If you've ever been on property, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's not a blade of grass out of place. It's the most beautiful piece of property on the planet with the deepest color green grass. It's cut to perfection. There's pink azaleas blooming all across the grounds. And some would say it's probably the most manicured piece of property in the world. It's absolutely beautiful. So that entire experience of attending this golf tournament with my family, I'm able to watch PGA Tour players up close. That truly inspired me to go back home to my local club with my dad and my big brother, and I wanted to figure out how to learn how to play this game. And it was there that the local high school golf coach actually saw me hitting golf balls for the first time. Now, I was on the varsity basketball team as a freshman. That was my sport, and everybody knew that. And he watched me hit driver, and I was hitting it really well. And he came over and he said, "Mayor, I knew you were a ball player. I had no idea that you were a golfer. Like, how long have you been playing?" I looked at my dad and I said, "Dad, how long have we been out here?" And he said, "You're kidding." And he asked me right then and there, he's like, "I want you to join the golf team." And of course I'm hesitant because I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know the rules. I'm a basketball player. That's my priority. I need to ask my basketball coach if it's even okay with her, if I can play another sport. But with it being opposite seasons with basketball, it would actually work. And she gave, me her blessing to play. And so as a freshman in high school, I make the varsity golf team with absolutely zero experience. And I'm shooting in the hundreds. Don't know what I'm doing. But I start to pick it up pretty quickly. Sophomore year, I'm shooting in the 90s. Junior year, I'm shooting in the 80s. And then senior year, I'm shooting in the 70s. So I picked the sport up very quickly. And it was during my junior year, I felt like, okay, this might be the best opportunity for me to live out my dream of playing college ball because, the focus was not on golf until I started like, hey, this might be my thing. And until then, it was all basketball. But, I started to spend my summers not playing basketball, but playing in every golf tournament that I could sign up for and trying to get attention from college coaches. Well, it worked. There were a lot of colleges that wanted to offer me a full scholarship. There were colleges that said, hey, if you want to, smaller schools that said, hey, if you want to play basketball and golf, you could do that. There was also a tournament I played extremely well, and I got the attention of an SEC school, but they didn't have any room on their team. I was late in this recruiting cycle. The only option there was a possible walk-on position, and I'll get to that story in a minute. But I got the attention from smaller colleges, and one in particular recruited me super aggressively. My parents were getting sick of the number of times they called our house and left messages constantly. And even the athletic director got involved alongside the golf coach. And my conversation with that athletic director, it still sticks with me to this day. There's certain points in life where you just vividly remember conversations, and this is one of them. He was trying to sell me on the vision if I would happen to sign with them. Being that it's a smaller college, his pitch was very much, you'd be number one on the team right away, you'd break records, you'd be in the history books forever, and you'd be the big man on campus, or my favorite one is you'd be a big fish in a small pond, right? So I took a beat, and I really wanted to respond respectfully because they really did recruit me vigorously. But I responded with, I think for me and my personality, I think I would thrive best in a situation where I'm not walking in as the number one player, but I'd be walking into some insane competition. That would make me push myself and strive for more and get the best possible version of myself. I don't want to initially be the big man on campus. That needs to be earned over time. And to me, instead of being a big fish in a small pond, I'd rather be a small fish that grows into a big fish in a big pond. And he just smiled and he said, good luck at South Carolina. I knew it was a long shot after meeting you and understanding your mindset that we're probably going to be too small of a college for you to excel. And you just need to go be great and thrive at a bigger university and play amongst the best in the country. He's like, but I had to give it a shot. And I made sure to to say how much I appreciated his interest in me during that recruiting process. But I always remembered that conversation, and we ended on good terms. But he knew where my heart was and understood that decision was not going to be best for me. Now, how I got the attention of the bigger school, there was a tournament down in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. It was this big junior championship in the state of South Carolina with all of the prized recruits who had signed with big SEC schools already or ACC schools. They were already signed. I mean, again, it's late in the recruiting cycle. Teams are already set, but they're being watched by their coaches. And so a lot of college coaches are in attendance, and I'm playing with two of the already signed South Carolina players. So coach is watching, and I'm playing out of my mind. When she's watching, my level of play just went up a notch. And it was tough conditions. It was cold. It was raining. And I beat her prized recruits. And again, it's late in the recruiting cycle. I have little to no experience in tournament golf. South Carolina recently came off of a SEC championship. So their team is absolutely stacked full of the top prospects in the country and even internationally. Plus, they don't have any more room on their team scholarship wise. But here I am, this local kid, a diehard Gamecock fan, and I just played some amazing golf right in front of their coach. Long story short, the local kid who picks up a sport late, especially recruiting wise, was offered a chance to be a walk-on at the University of South Carolina. And I tell you, I cried my eyes out with my parents knowing all the hard work had paid off and I was going to have the opportunity of a lifetime to be a Gamecock, which is what I dreamed of. And I still thank my coach every time I see her for giving me that opportunity. And I told her in her office, I said, you'll never regret it. You'll never have somebody who will work harder than I will work because I want this. And so over the course of the next couple of years, I eventually do get a scholarship. It's at the place I dreamt of playing, right? The flagship university, the University of South Carolina. And I mentioned previously, when I got to South Carolina, they had won the SEC championship. And at the time, the chairman of Augusta National was a South Carolina graduate. He was an alum. So the team, when they won the SEC championship, they got invited to play Augusta National by Chairman Johnson. And he continued to invite the team for the next several years. Now, of course, as a walk-on, the first couple seasons that I have, I'm still earning my spot. So I don't get the opportunity to play Augusta until my junior year. And you want to talk about God's timing? I was the last team to get invited to play there. The invitations stopped. Once the chairman retired, the next chairman wasn't a Gamecock grad. So my story confirms God's real. I mean, it's intricately woven circumstances and opportunities and situations and people that come across your path and the unreal timing. I call it divine intervention because only God could orchestrate such a unique story like mine. This game of golf, it really has changed the trajectory of my life and opened doors for me beyond college. And that platform of playing in the SEC continues to open doors for me to this day. What my grandfather really would have gotten a kick out of is that since then, I've played golf with celebrities, professional athletes. I was invited to be a special guest for a tournament with a former president of the United States of America. I mean, it's wild. And I know my grandfather, he would be so proud that something he purchased back then led to my journey of playing high school golf, walking on to my dream school. I get a scholarship at my dream school. I play Division I golf in the SEC. And then I drive down Magnolia Lane with my teammates to play the very course that inspired me to pick up the game in the first place. and I played the most prestigious course on the planet, Augusta National Golf Club. So as you can imagine, when people ask me, what's your favorite golf course and why, I get the biggest smile on my face, because you just have to understand the story behind. I always say I've played Augusta National, and everybody goes, whoa, are you serious? So it's just a blessing to look back on the journey and see how God orchestrated my story. I appreciate you all being so kind and supporting this podcast, and I really look forward to bringing on more incredible guests in the next few episodes. But until then, God bless and go Gamecocks.
There are several ways to support the show. If you leave a review, you'll be entered for a chance to win a free golf lesson with Meredith. Follow Meredith's social media for giveaway details. And to give a donation, you can click the support link in the show notes. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time here on The Meredith Taylor Show.